She chose a famous speech given by Hillary Clinton at the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, China, September 5th, 1995. The title of the speech is Women's Rights Are Human Rights. Please welcome Caroline Baker.
I would like to thank the Secretary General of the United Nations for inviting me to be part of the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women. This is truly a celebration of the contributions women make in every aspect of life. In the home, on the job, in their communities, as mothers, as wives, as sisters, daughters, learners, workers, citizens, and leaders. It is also a coming together, much the way women come together every day in every country. We come together in fields and factories, in village markets and supermarkets, in living rooms and in boardrooms. Whether it is while playing with our children in the park, or washing clothes in a river, or taking a break at the office water cooler, we come together and talk about our aspirations and our concerns. And time again, we talk turns, and we turn to our children and our families. And however different we may be, there is far more that unites us than divides us. We share a common future, and we are here to find a common ground so that we may help bring new dignity and respect to women and girls all over the world. And in so doing, bring new strength and stability to our families as well. By gathering here in Beijing, we are focusing on the world's attention on issues that matter most to the lives of women and their families. Access to education, health care, jobs, credit, the chance to enjoy basic legal and human rights, and participate fully in the political life of their countries. There are some who question the reason for this conference. Let them listen to the voices of women in their homes, neighborhoods, and workplaces. There are some who wonder whether the lives of women and girls matter to the economic and political progress around the globe. Let them look to the women gathered here, the homemakers, the nurses, the teachers, the lawyers, the policymakers, and women who run their own businesses. It is conferences like this that compel governments and people everywhere to listen, look, and face the world's most pressing problems. Earlier today, I participated in a World Health Organization forum where government officials, NGOs, and individual citizens are working on ways to address the health problems of women and girls. And tomorrow, I will be gathering at a United Nations Development Fund for Women. There, the discussion will focus on local and highly successful programs that give hard-working women access to credit so that they can improve their lives and the lives of their families. What we are learning around the world is that if women are healthy and educated, their families will flourish. If women are free from violence, their families will flourish. If women have chances to work and earn as full and equal partners in societies, their families will flourish. And when families flourish, communities and nations flourish. That is why every woman, every man, every child, every family, and every nation on our planet has a stake in the discussion that takes place here today. Over the past 25 years, I've worked persistently on issues relating to women, children, and families. Over the past 2.5 years, I've had the opportunity to learn more about the challenges facing women in my own country and around the world. I have met new mothers in Jakarta, Indonesia, who have come together regularly in their own village to discuss nutrition, family planning, and baby care. I've met working parents in Denmark who talk about the comfort they feel in knowing their children can be cared for in creative, safe, and nurturing after-school centers. I have met women in South Africa who have led the struggle to end apartheid and are now helping build a new democracy. I have met women in India and Bangladesh who are taking out small loans to buy milk cows, rickshaws, thread, and other materials to create a livelihood for themselves and their families. The great challenge of this conference is to give voice to women everywhere whose experience go unnoticed, whose words go unheard. Women comprise more than half the world's population. Women are 70% of the world's poor, and 2/3 of those are not taught to read or write. Women are the primary caretakers for most of the world's children and elderly, yet much of the work that they do is not valid, not by economists, not by historians, not by popular culture, not by government leaders. At this very moment, as we sit here, women around the world are giving birth, raising children, cooking meals, washing clothes, cleaning houses, planting crops, working on assembly lines, running companies, and running countries. Women are also dying from diseases that should have been prevented long ago. They are watching their children succumb to malnutrition caused by poverty and economic deprivation. They are being denied the right to go to school, to own their they are forced into prostitution, and they are being barred from bank lending offices and banned from the ballot box. Those of us who have the opportunity to be here have the responsibility for speaking for those who could not be here today. Speaking to you today, I speak for them, just as each of us speaks for women around the world who are denied the chance to go to school or see a doctor or own property or have a say about the direction of their lives, simply because they are women. The truth is that most women around the world work both inside and outside the home, usually by necessity. We need to understand there is no formula in how women should lead their lives. That is why we must respect the choices that each woman makes for herself and for her family. Every woman deserves the chance to realize her God-given potential. We also recognize that women will never gain full dignity until their human rights are respected and protected. Our goals for this conference to strengthen families and societies by empowering women to fully achieve a greater control over their own destinies here and around the world, accept their responsibility to protect and promote international recognized human rights. The international community has long acknowledged that both women and men are entitled to a range of protections and freedoms, from the right of personal security to the right to determine freely the number and spacing of children that they bear. No one should be forced to remain silent for fear of religious or political persecution, arrest, abuse, or torture. Tragically, women are the most often the ones whose human rights are violated. Even in the 20th century, rape of women continues to be used as an instrument of armed conflict. Women and children make up a large majority of the world's refugees. I believe that it is time to break our silence. It is time for us to stay here in Beijing and for the world to hear that it is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights. These abuses have continued because for too long the history of women has been a history of silence. Even today, there are those who try to silence our words. The voices of this conference must be heard loud and clear. It is a violation of human rights when babies are denied food or are simply because they are born girls. It is a violation of human rights when women and girls are sold into slavery or prostitution. If there's one message that echoes forth from this conference, it's that human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights. Let us not forget that among those rights are the right to speak freely and the right to be heard. As long as demonstration and inequities remain so commonplace around the world, as long as girls and women are valued less, fed last, overworked, underpaid, not schooled, and subjected to violence in and out of their homes, the potential of the human family to create a peaceful, prosperous, and world will not be realized. Let this conference be our call to action, and let us heed the call so that we can create a world in which every woman is treated with respect and dignity. God's blessings on your work and on all who benefit from you. Thank you very much, Mr. Postmaster.